Moritz, to quickly introduce you, Moritz is German, but he lives in Hong Kong. I don't know for how many years. He's a full-time trader, and he attended my workshop. He's a great guest speaker because he was already full-time trading, right? Other systems. So he's got a repertoire of systems. And he can give you a lot of information on, well, how is it actually trading the systems? How is it if you have other systems, right, to combine them? How do they complement with each other, etc.? So let me ask you, Moritz, because I don't know, or I don't remember, what Myers-Briggs type are you?
I am ISTJ at the moment. I was INTP 10 years ago, then 5 years ago I switched to INTJ, and recently ISTJ.
You're an ISTJ, so that's not the ideal trader type, right? But you still are very successful, so that's good news, right? Doesn't need to be an NTJ. Okay, well, let's open it up for questions. You can type questions. Best is to type the questions in the chat, and then Moritz can see that as well. Or if it's something, I mean, it's better to talk, you can unmute and ask it as well, the question, right? Okay.
How many hours do you trade? Per day, I sit in front of the charts roughly 2 to 3 hours on average. I do my morning scan, then I set my alarms, and then I do again a scan later in the day. And altogether, it's roughly 2 to 3 hours per day, and then 1 additional hour of journaling. So trading prep takes half an hour, charts 2 to 3 hours, and then journaling after the session, maybe 30 minutes or so. So yeah, it's basically a 50% job, 4 hours a day. I'm curious about your trader journey. How long have you been trading? 10 years, 10 years full-time. I started in 2010 with trading. Before that, I was a professional poker player. I switched to trading because of the regulation and tax issues, and because trading is more scalable. So 10 years full-time now. How long have you been in Gigi's program? I started the FX workshop exactly 1 year ago. And then I did the bootcamp and the LLP, and I did the same for futures because I like the FX system so much, the experience, and yeah, so 1 year. What's it been like for you? It's fantastic, it's a great learning experience. So I wanted to diversify my portfolio of strategies because I realized that my own strategies didn't fit every market type, for example, and I still had some free resources, and then I had the choice, do I develop my own systems? And I know how much time it takes, at least a year, probably 2, to have like a profitable system running. And I did the peak performance 101 in 2018 in London, and someone mentioned Gabriel. And 2 years later or 3 years later, I remembered his name. And due to Corona, I was able to join online, which was great. So I tried it out, and it was really good. Yeah. So very happy with that investment. Giving you time zone, when do you trade? I trade the afternoon here in Hong Kong. So that's not because there are also trades in the Asian session. That's not the issue. I'm just not a morning person. I like to wake up late, go to the beach, go to the gym, get everything else done. I have a business running as well. And then I start trading in the afternoon when London opens, basically 3, 4 p.m. to roughly 10, 11 p.m. Yeah. So that's my day. Yeah. So I have my free time in the morning. Maybe not the smartest choice because more people are productive in the morning, but that's the way I like it. And that's the good thing about trading. You can create your own lifestyle around it, right? which time frames do you use for those 3 hours? You look at charts. So far, every time frame from the 1 minute up to the daily charts. I haven't taken a trade on the daily chart yet, but all the other time frames I have traded 1 minute, 5 minute, 15, up to 4 hour. Yeah, so I simply go through the time frames, see what fits. Sometimes it's an S1 day, sometimes it's an S2 day, sometimes it's a 15 minutes day, 1 minute day. It's just, you will see that when you do your scan, and then you focus on those time frames and systems basically. Do you trade every day and every week? I don't trade Mondays. Gabriel also will tell you that, I told you already, that Mondays are not the best days to trade. Historically, I have been break even on Mondays. So when Gabriel said he doesn't trade Mondays either, I simply followed him. So Mondays are used for market preparation, doing all that important stuff, the big picture analysis and so on. And then the other days I trade, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, main trading days. Fridays usually, sometimes a bit quiet. If it's NFP or so, usually a bit more quiet until NFP hits, obviously. Yeah, but Fridays I try to be more passive because I don't want to risk any winnings of the week. You want to go into the weekend with a good mindset. Yeah. Every week so in the past I have struggled with various degrees of burnout because I'm a workhorse. Like I can sit in front of the computer 20 hours a day and don't feel anything until my system shuts down completely. Yeah? So I try to make it a habit to take 1 week off every 3 weeks now, just out of self-protection. Yeah, because once you have a massive or a serious burnout, it takes a while until you get back to the charts. So I figured that 1 week every month is a great payoff for me. What bar size do you usually trade? What do you mean by bar size? You mean the time frame, I guess? Yeah, all the time frames, basically. 1 minute to the daily. Average duration of your trades totally depends on the time frame, right? Sometimes it's 1 minute and you get stopped out. Sometimes it's 5 minutes to take profit. Sometimes you are in there a week or two. Yeah. Do you trade your other systems on Mondays? One system I do actually, yes, it's a mean reversion system because Mondays really horribly trend, and so I do some mean reversion trades on Mondays, but just because when I look at the chart, I do my big picture analysis, and then I see a trade, I can't let it go. Like I have to take it. But that's the only thing I do, and it has become much less over the years. Yeah, and recently, as you also said, Gabriel, don't trade Mondays. It's become even less. So I think I will completely cut out Mondays and be done with that. In terms of revenue, what percentage comes from Gabriel systems, and what is the breakdown percentage of S1, S2, and S3 trades that you do? So S1 and S2, I have more S2 than S1 trades, and I have the fewest S3 trades. That's the preference, however, personal preference. S3, I'm super picky because it's a one-bar signal system basically. I personally prefer to only trade super high-quality signals to keep my win rate high. Because it's easier for me to stay in a positive mindset like that. So yeah, I would say the most is 2 trades, then S1, and then the least trades are S3 for me. And percentage-wise, I'm still scaling up Gabriel systems. So I have traded them profitably from the beginning, basically, implemented them profitably. I'm not trading them yet at the position size that I trade my bread and butter systems that I have been trading for 10 years now. So obviously you want to scale into that, and that's what I'm doing right now. And once we get there, let's see which performs better. I don't have any ego in it, so if I can make more money with Gabriel systems, fantastic. I wouldn't complain. What is your biggest psychological obstacle? And how do you manage your mindset to be consistent? My biggest psychological obstacle, I would have to think about that for a while, because I think these days I've done so much self-work over the last 10 years, maybe even 15 years, because when I was playing poker, the mental side of the game was so important as well. For me, even more important maybe, because the market never angers me. But when I was sitting at the poker table and I lost money to the person on the other side of the table, that angered me. Because I had to look them in the eyes and they were smiling at me as they took my money. That was an interesting experience. So the markets themselves, they are neutral to me, right? I don't have a lot of anger issues with the markets and so. Also no FOMO. I think my biggest issue is still that I sometimes simply work way too much and I obsess way too much over the charts. So I really have to always actively cut down on the hours that I invest in chart time. That's simply always been my biggest challenge. How do I manage my mindset to be consistent? Yeah, for me, it's 100% nature. I need to get out every day. I live in Hong Kong, so we have beautiful beaches here. We have the sea. I have beautiful sea view here and mountain view. Hiking, more than 2,000 kilometers of hikes through the jungle and so on. So that just really gets me into the zone when I do that in the morning before my trading. And then somewhere out there, I look for a spot to maybe do a 20 minutes meditation. It's beautiful when the wind goes through your face, and it's amazing. Yeah. So you come back from a 3-4 hours hike in the morning, there's nothing that can face you when you sit down in front of the charts. You're so relaxed, it's fantastic. So for me, I mean, it's everything. Yeah? It's nature plus exercise plus meditation. So it's a must-have. That's how I keep my mindset consistent. And if I don't do that, I know I will definitely have troubles, or my performance will deteriorate. I can go a day or two without. Third day, fourth day, it gets bad. Yeah. How many trades do you usually take per week? With your systems, with Gabriel systems, I'm around 5 to 6 trades in FX. And then with my own systems, that's another 5 to 10 trades on top. So roughly 10 to 15 trades with 6 systems in FX, basically. How is your scanning of the charts, manual or automated? It's manual. I thought about coding like a dashboard, for example, where you can see the moving averages, comma, for example. But I talked to some programmers and it was quite a big project. And also I'm not convinced of the use of automation in that regard, because for me, as a discretionary systematic trader, I need to feel the chart, and when I go over the charts, then I look at one chart, I know in a second or two, oh, okay, this feels good. There might be a trade here. And if I use the dashboard first and then go to the chart because all the moving averages are going in the right direction, I think it will disrupt my process. So I'm sticking to manual, and I like it. I enjoy it a lot. What is your preparation routine to get into the right mindset before the training session? Yeah, it's basically the hike in the morning. Then just before the session, I look at screenshots of AAA trades that I took in the past or didn't take. Just take screenshots whenever you see the fantastic trade. I take screenshots, and then I have basically for each system I have 10 of AAA trades, and I look at those just to remind myself what I'm actually looking for, the patterns and so on. And then I do some breathing exercises, 5-minute meditation, and that gets me in the zone. And then I start my scanning. And then it might happen that 1 minute later I take a trade because I go to the 1-minute charts, and as I scan through, I see a signal. It might trigger instantly. Yeah. So basically, when I finish my 5-minute meditation, it's go time. Yeah. What's the longest streak of losing trades you've had, and how do you get back into the right mindset after that? Yeah, the longest streak of losing trades. I can't accurately say because it's been such a long time, the last 10 years. It was around 15R. It wasn't like 15 losses in a row. It was just my biggest drawdown was 15R, so 15%. And I took a month off when I was down 15R. I reiterated, I reviewed. Did I make execution mistakes? Did the market kill my systems? The market change and so on. You have to find out what's happening. And when I found out that it was all basically the first 5 trades were good trades, but they didn't work out. And then after that, the trade quality deteriorated because of me. My execution got worse. And when I found out about that, then I was like, okay, this is something I can easily fix. Something I can fix. So the market didn't kill my systems. It's just my execution was really bad. And after that month, I came back. In the first 5 trades, I recouped the loss. Yeah. So sometimes it pays to take some time off and get some distance. Perspective is super important, I think, because sometimes you get lost and you can't see the forest of all the trees, right? Yeah, so taking some time off, perspective, super important. Which platform do you use for FX? I use MetaTrader with various brokers. It's simple to use, reliable, has been around forever. I think 20 years or so. It has all the indicators you need, and there are great tools to automatically calculate your position size. For example, you get into the trade with the exact perfect position size to risk 1% based on your stop loss and so on. So it's great convenient, and I like it. What areas of trading are you seeking to improve on? At the moment, obviously I'm still getting deeper and deeper into mastering Gabriel's systems. So 1 year is, 1 year is good to gain experience, but it's definitely not enough to master. So I want to gain a deeper understanding yet of the FX systems and also the future systems. And besides that, I really just need to keep working on my mindsets, which it's a never-ending process, basically. There's always something to discover, and then something new comes up. Maybe it might be a family issue, a health issue, a world issue, you never know, and then it might trigger something inside you that you then have to deal with. It never ends. And you as a person change too, right? And your life circumstances change, etc. So yeah. It's an interesting journey. Yeah. What is the process you follow to review your trades, and do you do it weekly? Yeah, I simply put the trades into my journal, of course. I make screenshots of all of them. What kind of statistics do you maintain? All kinds of statistics. Actually, the company I am has a journal as a product. I don't want to push it here, but we have lots of stats in there, and that's what I basically use. Everything is in there, win rate, R, etc. And I do it weekly, yes, because if you do it weekly, like obviously after a trading session, I journal my trades. Then on the weekends, you want to see what trading mistakes you made. That's most important for me. And I also want to see if I missed any trades during my trading times. So why, if there's a really good trade during my trading times and it went off and produced a big R multiple and I missed it, then obviously I want to find out why. Because if that only happens twice or 3 times a year, that could already cost me 20 hours. So I want to find out why that happened. So that's basically my weekly process, and then I have a Word file Excel file where I write down all the trading mistakes, and then you categorize them, and then you will quickly realize that you always repeat the same mistakes, and it might not happen all the time, not every day, right? You could repeat a mistake, say 3 times in a quarter, but that mistake might cost you 2R every time. So that's 6R in a quarter or 24R in a year. That's a lot of R's. Yeah. 24%. Every hedge fund in the world dreams of that performance. So you really have to weed out those trading mistakes. Super important. That categorization really helps a lot. Yeah. How do you improve your trading process based on these reviews? Yeah, it's basically yes, those are the 2 main issues. A, killing trading mistakes. B, not missing the fantastic trades. You will always miss some trades. You can never take all the trades, but you want to make sure that you catch the very best. Yeah. Which brokers do you use for Forex? Not going to make a recommendation here, just do your own due diligence on brokers. Make sure they are regulated somewhere that makes sense, like Australia or the UK, or yeah. Don't use St. Vincent and the Grenadines brokers and you'll be fine. Make sure that the spread and the commissions are not too high. Do you use any of Gabriel's systems on equity trading like the SPX? Do you have a loss limit for a given day? Loss limit for a given day is 3R from the high. So if I make 2R first trade and then I lose 3R in a row, I'm down -1R for the day. I also cut it, because if you take 3 losses in a row, something is off. Either the market is really weird or you are weird. And three losses in a row doesn't happen often, and it might screw with your mindset too. And 3R down, if you're down 3R a day, you can easily, not easily, but it's one good trade the next day. So it doesn't mess with your mindset too much. Yeah. I do have long-term equity trading systems, long-short portfolio management. I am actually looking at implementing some of Gabriel's ideas, because obviously when you look at the chart, you cannot help but notice, but that's a real long-term project way out there in 2024, so I'm way too busy right now. Yeah, but I do see the patterns in the charts, daily charts, which I look at, which is quite interesting, and I want to follow up. Yeah, but no chance at the moment. Way too busy. What's the choice to trade in the evening because it suited you, or the market timing? Yeah, it suits me. Yeah, absolutely. You can find great trades in the Asian session, the London session, New York session, it doesn't matter. With Gabriel systems, there's always something to be picked off. Yeah. So you don't need to worry about that, your time zone at all. Do you have a favorite FX pair? Or one you find you understand more? It changes over time. I mean, my favorite FX pairs are the ones that move. And the GBP JPY used to be called the dragon because it used to move like crazy. These days, it's mediocre at best. So it always changes, right? But there are phases where certain pairs just move and they don't stop, and then you just pile in. You just take one signal after another. And that's my favorite FX pair of the week. And next week it might be a different one. Which trading books have you enjoyed and found value from? I really enjoyed, obviously, the classic ones, Market Wizards. I really like those. Interestingly enough, when I read them the first time, I didn't like them because I thought they were quite, like there was not a lot of advice in them. But the better I understood trading, the more I could draw from the interviews in wisdom. So as you get a deeper understanding of the subject, it makes more sense to reread those books that you thought were quite dry or so. So good stuff, yeah. Jesse Livermore's Reminiscences was great, of course. I really loved Pitbull by Marty Schwartz, fantastic trader also. Yeah, those are my all-time favorites. Yeah. Pitbull, Market Wizards, Reminiscences. Yeah. And Steenbarger, Brad Steenbarger. Great trading psychologist. I can highly recommend too. Yeah. And Trading Beyond the Matrix. Okay, now I'm done. Have you found that there is a point of diminishing return when you are subjectively trying to determine if you should take a trade? When you are don't really understand the question. I would understand it if you said objectively, like with a checklist. Like you just that usually doesn't work too well. But can you reiterate? Can you overanalyze? Yes, of course. No. You can totally go into analysis paralysis. There comes a point where you just have to let go. Where you look at the chart, mental strategies, you feel good about the trade and you take it. And that comes with experience, of course, over time. In the beginning, you will look at your checklist again and so on, but I don't think it will work that if you have like a checklist with 100 items and you do a scoring system and so on. I tried that and it wasn't great. So now I look at the chart and of course I want to make sure that all the rules fit. And then I go by feeling mostly. How do I feel about the trade? Is there a reason why I'm passionate about the trade? And if I can write down that reason, usually there's no reason not to take the trade. Yeah, so don't overthink it. But it's always like that. In the beginning, like you know little and then you blow it up and then it becomes little again. Right? Any advice for us learning these systems for the first time? Yeah, just do everything that Gabriel said. And that will make it a lot easier. I think because obviously you are here because you want a mentor, and then you should listen to him. It makes sense, right? Because I know a lot of people that do get a mentor and then do everything the opposite of what the mentor says. So that doesn't bode too well. So yeah, just follow the guidance step by step. Don't take it too fast. Give yourself time and also forgive yourself. If you make mistakes, it's totally normal. Have a playful attitude and Then after a while, when you have really like understood the systems and the process and so on, that's when you can make them more your own. But in the beginning, just do everything as Gabriel says. You mentioned that it is important for your mindsets to have a high win rate. For me, it is. Yes. Is your win rate for GTU systems higher than the ones here? No. No. Like it fluctuates, right? Some weeks you might have 80% win rate or even higher because market is going crazy. And then next week you might have 50% win rate because markets is just so-so. But overall, yeah, the numbers are pretty much similar. Yeah, but I try to really stick to those high quality trades because for me personally, it's just like that. Yeah. I don't mind if I see a mediocre trade and I don't take it and it goes off and produces 20 R. I don't care at all. It just doesn't matter to me. If I get into a trade, mediocre trade, and it goes to -1 R, I will really have a hard time with myself. So I will think, why did you do that? Right? So that's simply the way I am for now. There might be some beliefs behind that I have to work on. But that's how I trade right now. It works fantastically for me. Yeah. The name of the last book you mentioned, Trading in the Matrix, Beyond the Matrix by Van. Yeah? Really interesting first-person accounts of traders. Before that, Reminiscences of a Stock Operator, Pitbull, Marty Schwartz, and The Market Wizards. Do you have a Discord group or social media daily? No. On my Instagram, I post food pictures. And on my Twitter, I post snarly political comments. So you seem very chilled and confident in yourself. Obviously, you have done the work needed, and I can see how it helps you trade well. Okay, I'm glad it helps. Burger Steenbarger, Brett Steenbarger. He wrote a book which you can get on the internet for free on his blog, Radical Renewal. It's about spirituality plus trading. Super interesting stuff. And then from there you can look at his other stuff. Yeah, he only has books. Just go to Amazon. I really like those. You mentioned earlier that your Myers-Briggs had changed over time. Was that just life happening, or did you take purposeful steps to change certain behaviors? Well, I'm always working on myself, of course. And I don't know if the change in probably. I mean, some parts of my personality or how I answer questions in the test changed. And that obviously only happens with a shift of how you perceive reality or, yeah. So all the self-work must have done something on me for me to do that differently. Because interestingly enough, when I first found that test in 2010, so I studied philosophy and psychology, and I didn't really believe in the typology tests back then. So I tried the tests when I was sober, when I was drunk, when I was sad, when I was happy, etc. Right? So I see if I can cheat the test, if I alter my state of mind, my drugs or whatever. But it always had the same result. I was like, okay, there must be something to it. And then the results stayed the same throughout the years until suddenly it changed. And then that definitely was a personality shift brought about by self-work. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. S&P Capital, yeah, then stock stock trading prop firm from New York. Yeah. All right. Any other questions?
For Moritz, it's 10 p.m. Well, nearly 11 p.m. now. let's see if we have a few more questions or an ending question before I wrap up.
You have done Forex followed by futures. Was futures workshop at NLP easier since you already experienced Forex? Well, I knew what to expect in terms of tools that Gabriel uses to teach. I have been using Forex Tester for at least 10 years as well, though, so it was not a big issue to get used to the Forex Tester at all. I would say it was quite easy to adapt to the process for me, and there was no harsh learning curve. It was very flat and forgiving. Yeah, so that was really good. Do the majority of your trading mistakes involve trade management as opposed to selection? Interesting question. In the beginning of my trading career, it was definitely trade selection first, because I had no trade management. It was just set and forget. And then it switched. I was really good at picking entries, and I became really bad at managing trades, like fear of losing and so on, fear of getting back. But now most of my trading mistakes actually involve process. So I'm too lazy to do my pre-trading preparation. I'm too lazy to journal, too lazy to do this and that, or I come home way too late and I don't have time to do trading preparation and so on. So it's mostly process related. But if I'm really in the zone and do all my trading prep, then I don't make mistakes on the trades. No. So I'm running at efficiency of around 90–95%. So every 20 trades, I make one mistake, either in execution or management. But besides that, I'm pretty good. Given that I do my pre-trading preparation, yeah, that's a must-have. What are your long-term dreams, goals when you reach your financial freedom numbers? I have reached my financial freedom numbers 5 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, and right now I'm just dreams is such a big word. I just enjoy trading, and I'm traveling a lot. Even though right now we want to settle down a bit, maybe have a kid, let's see. I just recently got married, so maybe it's going that way. We're not too sure about that yet. But yeah, if I don't want to, I don't have to work, I don't have to trade. Financial freedom number was reached a long time ago, and that's fantastic, but I just love trading, so I keep doing it. I also love making music, so I do that too. I love writing for myself, so I do that a little bit. And besides that, just enjoy life out in nature, because that's, for me, really like the main reason why I want to have the freedom the trading gives me is I can spend as much time as possible in nature. Yeah. Do you leave trades running with stops in place when you finish your session? I use stops, of course, and alarms. So if I have to leave the computer, I set up an alarm on TradingView, which I use for charting. And if price reaches a critical level, I get an alert on my phone. and then I can manage it either from the phone, or if I'm at home, I go to my desktop and manage it there. But yeah, I leave trades open when I finish the sessions. How have you improved as a person through mental work you have done for poker as well as trading? Well, I was always a bit of a procrastinator, slacker. Like everything in life was easy for me. It was super easy for me to like go through high school, university. University, I actually didn't go there for 4 years. I had my friends sign my attendance, and then for the last year I studied. The last year is just a big, gigantic blur for me because I did my master thesis and all the exams in 1 year. And I don't know, everything in life was always very easy for me. So suddenly there's trading or poker, and it's not a huge challenge to me. It really triggered a lot of buttons, yeah. Because trading or poker, they are a lot, but definitely not easy. So I would say I have improved a lot as a person. I might be stuck in a corporate job now, just doing my boring 9-to-5 life, not outperforming, not underperforming, just flying under the radar, collecting my paycheck and living a mediocre life. That might probably be what I would be doing right now if I didn't find trading or poker or so they really pushed me to become a hardworking person, which is great because flying under the radar is great for a while, but it's just not very fulfilling. Welcome.
Okay, one last question, if there is. Was a great question, Flo.
Yeah, very good. Thanks a lot, guys.
Okay, well let's close it. Let's wrap it up. I guess became clear to everybody that Moritz is a very happy person, right? I never met a successful trader who is an unhappy person. So that's kind of a prerequisite, right? That you're happy with life. And most importantly, happy with yourself, right? This is why we're here as well on a journey of self-discovery. As well, what I got, I didn't know that, I got from your answers, Moritz, that you're a clinger, right? You were just not spending too much energy in thinking on how to tweak or do things differently, right? So you're a clinger, and your trader development was very smooth, right? I mean, you have been a successful trader before, so it's obviously easier, right, for a professional trader to learn new systems, right? Moritz was one of those who, after the simulation, basically after the workshop, we do 1 month of a trader simulation boot camp. And after that, we look at the live markets. And I recommend everybody to start with a demo account, right? And for obvious reasons. And Moritz started with a real money account, right? Right after the simulation. Well, he's already successful, right? And he could do that. And that's good feedback for me, because I tell everybody you should not, right, with a real money account, because it typically dampens the growth, right, the trader growth. But if you already are successful, then you can do that, right? That's clear. So I had a
small position size. So
yeah,
like much smaller than my usual position size. Yeah. But it has to hurt a little for me, so that I actually want to trade.
Yeah.
Like if I lose, yeah.
Well, I had a huge aha in this session now. We'll see later today. We have Sean coming to talk. He was a complete trader novice, right? And then next week, Tuesday, David is going to talk. He as well was a complete trader novice. And typically when I invite trader novices, well, they say things where I say, well, yes, it's true. Well, they talk about their beliefs, right? Yes, that's true. Yes, it's true. And I think, well, they're just saying what I taught them, right? And well, now Moritz was successful before, and it was basically the very same thing, right? Everything he said, I can sign, right? So it's not it's not like you have to trade the US session. It's kind of a useful belief, right? He just said he trades when he feels best, right? When he performs best, and that's in his evening, right? All these things, even I get from experienced traders who haven't achieved yet what they wanted. I get beliefs where I say, well, I never said that. Where does that come from? Well, these are beliefs accumulated, right? And Moritz trades for many years, and I can sign everything he said, right? So apparently there's something fits, right? Useful beliefs of a successful trader, right? And successful trading. So that was a big aha for me. Like, I can sign everything you said, right? All your beliefs that came through. So that's interesting, yeah.
It is, yeah. And when I talk to my trader buddies, there's not a lot of conflict usually. Usually when we talk about trading, there is not a lot to talk about trading. That's the interesting thing. When I meet a novice trader and we go for dinner or so, it's all about trading. When I meet an expert trader or we go for dinner, it's 5% trading. And there's not much to be said because we already agree on everything.
That's good, yeah. I would like to, I mean, during the boot camps and as well then the LMP, you've handed in your trade logs, right, Moritz? And you have nicely filled as well the commentary section on your trade logs. I would like to summarize, well, to put them in one document and send it to the group. Would that be fine?
Sure, absolutely, yeah.
Then you see you can read about his thinking, right? And as he progressed in learning the systems, I mean, nothing is easy, right? There are always dips and dip cycles. Well, for Moritz, it was relatively smooth, I remember. And I think it might be a good case to read a smooth transitioning, basically, right? From an experienced trader. I would like to do that. Okay, great. I'll send you a copy too, Moritz. Might be very interesting for you as well to read.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Gabriel.
Thank you. Thanks for coming, Moritz. Bye-bye.
Good night.